mornings. Our best friend, Nate Burleson, is back with us, joining us from the set of CBS Mornings. Nate, I got to tell you, D'Angelo Hall is fanning himself because you got him so heated in the commercial break. He literally is doing this. What's up?
What's up? What's going on? Shout out to my guy, D. Hall. I just feel like D. Hall still got the juice. He can go out there and give a team 17 to 20 snaps a game. You feel me, D. Hall? 17 to 20?
I can give a team what Sherms gave the team.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
All right, world champs.
Nate always brings a little something extra to the show. He certainly did. Nate, before we're going to get into anything else, we have to discuss your performance from this past weekend, suffering a lopsided fantasy loss. What, did I teach you nothing? Let's take a look.
Last week, we took on Hollywood star Chloe Grace Moretz.
I'm afraid to look, Nate.
Here are the Week 5 results.
Oh, no, not again.
Yep, Team Moretz with a big win over Team Slime Time. Time to crown the queen.
Man, that chair looks so comfy.
And let's take a look at us.
Oh, man, that's not funny.
That's great.
I need the backstory here. How did you get matched up with a fantasy football juggernaut like Chloe Grace Moretz, and what went wrong?
Yeah, listen, we had Chloe Grace Moretz. Previous to that, we had Joel McHale. We had the John Cena. You know, he was out there doing the You Can't See Me. We're struggling right now. Kay, you know what I'm going to do? Before next week's episode, I'm going to holla at you because I need you to help pick our squad because I'm struggling. Just look at my team. I thought Saquon was going to do more. You can't really blame him, though. My man had a really nasty ankle injury. But I'm hitting you up next week, Kay, because we need to win bad.
Perfect.
Hey, Nate, we talked a lot about this wide-open MVP race. If you were a voter and needed to cast your vote right now, who's your MVP?
Tom Brady. Let's not make it difficult. I mean, come on now. Tom Brady is out there cooking. He is playing the best football he has ever played. I don't care what excuse you want to give me. Well, you know, maybe it's Byron Leftwich, and he has the great system, and, you know, Bruce Arians is giving him everything he needs. He's surrounded by talent on top of talent on top of talent. Okay, when we peel back the layers, it's still Tom Brady at 44 years old. Let me say it one more time. 44 years old. I haven't seen a 44 pass this good since Pistol Pete Maravich. You know he was out there willing and dealing, throwing dimes all over the place. But all jokes aside, you know, for him to be at 2,000 yards, 17 TDs, and just 3 interceptions, it just seems like he's found the rhythm at the right time, and he can end up leading in the league. It'd be one thing if he had a good season, but for him to be at this age and at the top, statistically, it just shows you that he's the best in the game.
Love that you're giving attention to Brady, but I gotta be honest, I'm still on Chloe Grace. I'm a big fan. You lost to Hit Girl from Kick-Ass because she was amazing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what she did. She kicked our, you know what.
She did. Hit Girl all over you, Nate. But you mentioned the Brady thing. Brady beat Matt LaFleur in the NFC title game in the Packers. We know it. We talked about it for weeks here at this table. And LaFleur, like, kind of out of nowhere, had this strong take at his press conference the other day where he was asked some statistical thing. He goes, stats are for losers. Now, Nate, you know it has been at least a dozen times that on this program, Peter has physically ripped a card out of your hand on the air that holds stats because he doesn't want you to talk about them. And yet Schrager was over here, probably because he loves LaFleur, saying, oh, I love stats are great, stats are great. Given your history with Peter and with stats, what's your response to this whole ordeal?
Peter Schrager, just a walking, talking contradiction. How many times have I went to read some numbers? I'm like, all right, so he was 13 and out of nowhere, Peter just snatches it out of, I'm like, all right, listen, Peter, I get it. I have to use nuggets in order to drive home my point. I sit on two sides of the fence when it comes to this. I understand that stats are important. You know, I'm one of those guys that when I'm hanging out or I'm introduced somewhere, they say, Nate Burleson played 11 years and he had 40-plus touchdowns, and he is the only guy that has 3 punt returns of 90-plus yards. And a lot of people joke with me about that. They're like, Nate, you can find any obscure way to give yourself a stat. Like, Nate Burleson is the only guy that scored a touchdown Monday night at 7:30 p.m. when the sun was going down and the rain was coming in from the east side. Like, I get it. You can twist stats. But here's the thing. Stats can be overrated and oftentimes overstated. If you're asking me right now as a 40-year-old, I would tell you I'd rather have a Super Bowl ring and a successful career getting back to the playoffs year after year after year than a guy who played 11 years and had the most stats in the world. At 40, if you told me, hey, 100 touchdowns, you're going down as a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever play the game, or a guy who was winning a Super Bowl every single season and went down as an absolute legend, I might take that legacy of being a champion over and over and over again. So you can have the stats. I'd rather have the success.
Yeah, and I just got a text from Chloe Grace Moretz and telling me, tell Nate to shut up about the stats and just win a fantasy football game once a week. Nate, you read the announcement of a Home Alone sequel in the works. And we on the show said, what is the most, not the best, the most underrated movie sequel of all time? And while we're at the table, D'Angelo's saying Bad Boys 2, Kyle's in there with Exorcist 3. We all agreed, we got to hear Nate's thought on this. The most underrated sequel of all time.
First, I saw the Home Alone segment, and we're all excited. We're big Home Alone fans. But if there is a Home Alone remake in the works, can we add a little color, if you will? Can we do like Home Alone Tyrone? You know what I'm saying? Like Tyrone's Revenge. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing it out there. You know, the producers, you can have that. But for me, if you're asking me, my favorite kid actor, I'll just say a few words.
Nope, no. Didn't ask that. Did not ask that. Ask just your favorite
most underrated
sequel.
Darn it. All right, you didn't ask me that. I was going to give you my Haley Joel Osment. But my favorite underrated sequel...
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Listen, I still know what you did last summer. It's a terrible sequel. First of all, it's so terrible that it's good. Here's the thing. The first one was a great movie. Let's just keep it real. We were all into it. You know, these teenagers, they're hanging out, they're partying, they hit a dude, and then somebody comes with a genius idea. Hey, let's just take off and leave the dude on the... He got a whole hook. He is terrorizing these kids for 2 hours. And then they come back, and we saw the trailer like, he still know what they did last summer? I thought we figured this out in the last movie. Still? You really still know what he did? Come on. Like, let it go, fam. So, yeah, that's one of my favorite, most underrated sequels.
Perfect.
Now, Nate, as part of the Long Show the other day, Kyle, imagine this, he actually had to name as many famous child actors as he could before the time expired. It's so, this is how in sync you and I still are, that you wanted to talk about best child actors. Who's the GOAT, the greatest of all time?
All right, so here we go. Let me get to it. Let me get into my Kyle Brandt mode.
You're ridiculous.
Character. I see dead people. Haley Joel, come on. Haley Joel was the best in Sixth Sense. That scene where he was sitting in the car with his mom, and he was talking to her about how her mom actually saw her at the recital, and I was getting choked up. Every time I'm alone and I'm watching that movie by myself at the crib, I'm in tears. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But that movie right there is incredible, man. I feel like Haley Joel, he gets the crown as the best child actor. He was way too young to be given scenes that grown. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. It's well said. Toni Collette, an underrated performance by her as well. I'm sure.
I like him in Gump.
Yeah,
I like him in Forrest Gump.
He lost an Oscar for that role to Michael Caine, of all people. I do have one question for Nate. Nate, given what you said you'd like to see out of a Home Alone sequel, is the reason you like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is because they added Brandy to the sequel?
Yeah, they added a little bit of flavor. You know, and here's the thing. They didn't kill her right in the opening credits. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is back in the day. There was two things you were going to get with the horror flick. The black person was going to die in the beginning, and the white girl was going to trip in the forest. So I like that they're starting to mix it up a little bit these days.
Nate Burleson, what can't you do? Check him out this weekend on Sunday. Early London game on CBS between the Dolphins and the winless Jags. You can see that, 9:30 a.m. Eastern with our friend Nate, and you can see him every morning on CBS Mornings. Thank you so much, Nate. Love you.
Bye, Nate.
See ya.
I'm ready.
All right, in the words of Peter Schrager, I'm out.